As we've already noted, the religion created in Babylon by Nimrod and Semiramis is known as the Mystery Religion, or simply the Mysteries. At its core, it was an inverted retelling of the fall of man in Genesis. In the biblical account of the incident, the serpent caused Adam and Eve to sin against God by suggesting they eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Because they acted in disobedience to God, who had specifically told them not to eat from that tree, sin entered into the human race, and all the misery, disease, and tragedy that makes up human history stems from that moment. In the Babylonian inversion of this event, however, the serpent is portrayed as the real good God. He was worshipped for opening the eyes of men and for infusing the woman with his passion and lust. He was seen as a liberator and an enlightener. To them, he illuminated the minds of mankind by revealing to them the secret knowledge that God had tried to keep from them. Look again at the all-seeing eye. Notice that it has rays of light emanating from it. This represents the illuminating secret knowledge that he claims to offer, the secret serpent knowledge that could provide mankind with their own salvation and which would see them become gods. That is why the religion is called the Mysteries, because it claims to harbor the secret knowledge that was offered to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. In the Mysteries, the true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh, was portrayed as a wrathful deity of hate who was guilty of opposing freedom of choice. Because Nimrod and Semiramis set themselves up as the sun and moon gods, the religion was also based on a corruption of primeval astronomy. It was believed by Noah's righteous ancestors that the stars told the story of Satan's rebellion against God in heaven, his fall, subversion of mankind, the promise of a Messiah who would suffer and die to lift the curse of sin and then be installed as Lord of creation and conqueror of Satan. These stories were widely known amongst the people of the time. Semiramis, however, again inverted the story, and so in the mystery version, the stars of the sky told a different story. In the Babylonian version, Satan was depicted as the rightful Lord of the universe, whose throne had only temporarily been usurped by God. One day an Antichrist, a seed of the serpent, would be born of a divine mother, would become God himself, replace God, and return rulership of the world to the serpent. Semiramis claimed that this was the real, hidden truth concealed within the stories. This corrupt and satanic version is the origin of astrology, which still exists virtually unchanged today. The Babylonians didn't just believe the stars told the story of the universe. They believed you could divine the future of individuals through them as well. If the stars told the story of things that had passed, they could also tell the stories of things to come. They would therefore divide the sky into sections and give meanings to each section on the basis of the stars that are found there. According to the theory, a person's destiny is said to be determined by whatever section or sign he is born under. This is the origin of horoscopes. In times to come, astrology would pass to the empire of ancient Egypt, which is the place we most associate with pyramids today. The sacred mountain pyramids were constructed with certain mathematical relationships to the stars. The Sphinx also has astrological significance. It has the head of a woman, symbolizing Virgo, the Virgin, and the body of a lion, symbolizing Leo. Virgo is the first sign of the zodiac, and Leo is the last, so the Sphinx, which literally means joining in Greek, is the meeting point of the zodiac, indicating that the Egyptian priests believed Egypt was the center of the universe. By the time Moses led the Jews out of Egypt in Exodus, astrology had also infected the population in Canaan, which was the land that they were headed towards. Hence, some of the strictest warnings in the Bible against astrology date from this period, such as in Leviticus 19:31 and Deuteronomy 18. The biblical denunciations of astrology identify the practice with demonism or Satanism, in the sense that Satan and his hosts were actually being worshipped in the guise of the signs, planets, and stars. And as mentioned previously, the leading lights of the sky, sun and moon, were worshipped in the form of Nimrod and Semiramis. Very significantly, a third leading light was identified in the sky that was 23 times more luminous than the sun, and therefore was considered to be the most important star in the sky. This star is known as the dog star, Sirius, or the morning star, because it's still visible even in the morning light. Remember in Isaiah 14:12, Lucifer is referred to as that name. When allied with the sun and moon, the morning star completes an unholy trinity of lights personified in Satan, Nimrod, and Semiramis. One of the key elements of the mysteries that I also want to emphasize is the hierarchical structure that they contained. The secret illuminating knowledge from the serpent was not to be freely distributed to the unworthy. You would have to become initiated into the religion and then work your way through ascending degrees of revelation and knowledge. This ascension through the levels was considered to be a journey from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, a process of enlightenment. Progression was propagated by a hierarchy of priests and priestesses, and were marked by fearful rites of passage and oaths of secrecy, which, if broken, would lead to death. Similar oaths of secrecy are sworn today by other hierarchical institutions, like the Freemasons and Jesuits, but more about them later. The further along in the process you were, the more enlightened you were considered. The more enlightened you were, the more you could look down your nose at the unenlightened. The hierarchical structure of the mysteries was designed to create inequality amongst men based on what they knew. It can itself be best visualized in the form of a pyramid or a ziggurat again, wide at the base and increasingly narrow as you rise through the levels towards the peak. The idea is that there is an average mass of people at the bottom of the pyramid who are ignorant, blind fools, with an increasingly small number of enlightened people towards the top. The very top, the capstone as it were, is Lucifer himself, the giver of light. If you've read or seen Harry Potter, you'll be vaguely familiar with this concept. In those stories, the name Muggle is given to the majority of people in the world who go about their lives utterly oblivious to the wizarding world that is actually all around them, or at least very close at hand. We are encouraged to think of Muggles as idiots, and indeed the Oxford English Dictionary has even picked up on the word and defines it as an individual who is clumsy or unable to acquire a new skill. Those who were born into a Muggle family but have been awakened to wizardry are called mudbloods, i.e. half-bloods, and this places you on a higher position than a Muggle, but a lower position to those who have centuries of pure wizardry in their ancestry. J.K. Rowling here, as in many aspects of her books, is actually giving insights into real occultism. The word occult means hidden or concealed, and it is the modern name by which the ideas of the mysteries have come to be known today.